Welcome to Reykjavík Grapevine's Newscast. My name is, of course, Valur Grettisson, editor-in-chief at Reykjavík Grapevine. I'm wearing a mask because I'm doing an interview today, and it's a special guest. It's the British ambassador. His name is Michael Nevin. Welcome, and thanks for meeting us.
Thank you for having me.
How's the COVID? You're COVID-free at the embassy still?
We are COVID-free, but like everyone else, we've got our measures in place to try and keep it that way.
So I asked you, when I asked you to interview you, I asked what place you liked in Reykjavík and if you would like to meet me there.
Yeah.
And you chose this place, which is absolutely beautiful. But
yeah.
Perhaps I ask you, why this place?
So when I first came here, I was running and I wanted to find somewhere to run, and I went from my house near the Hotel Holt, and I somehow managed to find here.
Yeah.
And I run along here.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have a beautiful either sunrise or sunset, and it's so, particularly early in the morning.
Yeah.
It is so quiet.
When in the morning? Like 6 o'clock in the morning, or?
Oh well, not quite so early, but a little bit, not too late.
Okay.
And actually, there are very few people around. So particularly in winter, I wear these yak track things.
Yeah.
And I run down here.
Okay.
And I'm not the best of runner, so I may have a little break in between.
Yes.
And I can sit, and there's a bench down here.
Yeah.
And I can sit on the bench and just kind of meditate a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
And then then back home.
It's a beautiful, like the ocean, and then you have like what do you call it in English? It's like this, Suðurnes, the southern of Iceland.
Yeah.
And you also can see the house of Icelandic president.
Exactly.
So it's not as humble as the Queen's.
Well, sometimes
I
sit here wondering whether I can actually see the president himself running and doing his plugging as well. But my eyesight is not that good.
Exactly. To more serious business, perhaps. The COVID, of course, is becoming a daily reality in the world.
Yeah.
And I imagine it's a little bit harder when you're like an expat in another country, and like the borders are closing and opening and closing again and so on.
Yes.
And you have your loved ones in another country.
Yes.
Have you how have you been noticing this in your work at the embassy, or how do you
Yes,
see this?
obviously, the first phase was kind of the crisis phase where, a lot of countries were starting to close borders and airlines were starting to close down. And at that phase, it was really about advising British tourists that really they need to think about getting back home because, there's a possibility of being stranded. Thankfully, it never quite came to that here in Iceland.
So there were never like incidents where you had to help people home because of the COVID?
We helped them home in terms of advice, but thankfully we didn't have to put on any specific flights.
No.
There was a reduced service, but there was always a way to get back home. I think now we've noticed, ever since I've been here, one of the really strong aspects is that the British community seems really well integrated.
Okay.
So we don't have so strong dependencies by the British community.
Okay.
Because they're able to get a lot of information. We supply a lot of information online.
Okay.
But also, they're able to get their own information.
Do you feel that people are like the Polish community in Iceland? They were taking a lot of advice from the Polish government, not the Icelandic ones. And there were like two different realities going on at the time in the beginning.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it was the same with the English public in Iceland?
I think from the beginning, in our messaging, and I did a few videos, we actually referred a lot to both our website, which is gov.uk, but what we found is what the covid.is website was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, that's true.
It was really clear.
Yeah.
It was in different languages. It combines data with the guidance.
Yeah.
And you know, I've held it up and sent it back to London as an example of a really good communications portal.
Okay.
So I think the information
it got through.
I think that difficulty for everyone is the uncertainty, isn't it?
Yes, definitely.
It's, you know, what is going to happen next. And at the beginning of this, it was concern about the UK, and is it going to put in the 14-day quarantine for travellers from Iceland? Yeah. And now we're at the stage where if you want to come to Iceland, you got to have the test and quarantine for 5 days. So
it's almost like it's turning around. We were doing so well in the beginning, but the UK started a little bit off when it came to the pandemic. But then the UK slowly got the handle of it. But Iceland is losing it again, and now we perhaps will be on like a red list for the British government when it comes to travelling.
So I wouldn't say that Iceland is losing. I think we should expect that cases are going to rise and fall. Yeah. And we're learning better and better how to manage this. But it's very complex. It's in modern history, it's the first sort of global pandemic. And we're seeing that different countries can take different approaches depending on their own context. But I think here it's been managed extremely well. Yeah. We have the Holy Trinity, right, who have their press conferences and keep everyone very informed. Yeah. And I think in general we should expect that cases emerge and then you take focused action. Iceland did very well in avoiding a total lockdown. Yeah, exactly. Unlike the UK had to revert to. It
was very harsh. Exactly.
But, you know, I think most countries are trying to revert, trying to avoid a complete lockdown and much more targeted measures because we know more than we did back in March.
To add to this confusion, which is the COVID confusion, is of course the Brexit situation, and you were ambassador, right, when the Brexit, like shortly after Brexit, and I was just thinking, like, I imagine that like the confusion with the Brexit, like how about like going through to live in a different country and everything like that, the paperwork basically, have changed in many ways. How has this transition been going for the embassy?
So. I got the job here in Iceland before the referendum in the UK.
It was before, okay.
But by the time I came here, we had the referendum. So my job description changed a bit.
Right.
And you're right, it was a sort of a major issue. Yeah. We came, in terms of British citizens, we came to a good agreement with Iceland and Norway and Liechtenstein. On what we call citizens' rights. Yeah. So if you are living here, working here, studying here, then you can continue to do so after actually the end of this year. Yeah. So up until the end of this year, nothing changes. And if you are here by the 31st of December, then you can continue on your life pretty much as before to live here in Iceland. Okay. So what we have created is something called the Living In Guide for Iceland. Yeah. So that's where we put all our information. As you say, it can be quite complex, can be quite detailed, but our overall message for British citizens and indeed Icelanders living in the UK is if you're there before the 31st of December this year, you can pretty much go on with your life. Okay. The only thing, because everything else flows from it. Yeah. The only thing that we would absolutely crucially underline is that you are fully registered with Registers Iceland. So it's not just the work Kennetella, but so the full Kennetella. Now, most people will have that full Kennetella, but just to be doubly sure, that's our main message. And a lot of things flow from that.
But so after the 31st of December,
yes,
how
then things
much
do
will
change.
Everything will change?
Yes,
I mean,
so after 31st December, the ability of, you can still go and visit Iceland and the UK. There's no restrictions there. There's no visa required.
Exactly.
If you're just going for the normal sightseeing, hopefully after COVID, or shopping or whatever. But if you are wanting to live and work, then things will change.
Okay.
You can still do that, but you'll need to apply for the relevant work visa, which
you'll be in a similar situation as the Americans.
Exactly. If you're American or Canadian or non EU country, then.
But now, like when you have, like, of course, the COVID on top of everything, do you feel like people perhaps were not appreciated to travel between countries as much as we perhaps should have?
I think people do. I think what they appreciate probably is the importance of good sanitation and health now. You can't travel if you're not very well.
That is very true.
And I think maybe that's come, and it's an interesting debate about, do we go back to where we were before?
True.
I think a lot of people want to travel, of course, and
of course, not only travel. My point was perhaps also live in different countries, and as well as studying and things like that.
Yeah.
So everything becomes a little bit more complicated than it used to be, I guess.
A little bit more, but I think no country wants to really sort of close down.
No.
But obviously at this stage it's health.
Okay.
And obviously, as I said, with the UK leaving the EU, you can still, the normal traveller can still do that. That won't change.
Yeah.
As long as clearly we can manage COVID to enable people to do that. And your dog is absolutely fantastic.
Yes, he's fun.
We had on Twitter the Iceland cricket team. There was such a thing.
Yeah, we were actually written about it.
Yes. It found from the BBC archives one of my predecessors who I think brought in a dog from the UK.
Okay.
And it was such a hit in Iceland in the 60s in that time. And it stimulated me. Yeah. And I was talking to my wife about, what kind of dog? Yeah. And we used to have a dog, a beagle. Yeah. But it was so naughty. It would steal things from your handbag if it was edible. And we were thinking about size. Yeah. But your dog is perfect. Yeah. This
is Border Collie and Wiener dog combination. It's an odd combination, but it means that she's very loyal and she likes balls.
You're beautiful. You are beautiful. You're wet but beautiful.
One last question though, I have to ask you. It's a nasty question, but it's a funny question. Have you ever felt the need for bodyguards in Iceland, or have you been afraid of your safety or anything like that?
I know what you're asking. Look, different countries take different approaches, and obviously where you are, you evaluate the risk.
So you haven't.
For me, I don't. No.
You haven't asked for a knife vest or anything like that?
I have not.
Well, I think this is it. This was very enlightening, and I hope that this helps actually expats in Iceland and those that want to move to Iceland, or just.
Well, if I could say something to you, I think many people and many businesses have been impacted by COVID, but I'm particularly struck by how much Reykjavík Grapevine has been impacted, and clearly a lot of your fortunes were helped by tourism.
Yes, definitely.
Because your readership, but also your advertising, which helps run the paper.
Definitely.
Helped you to grow.
Yeah.
And now you are facing like many, it's not just tourism companies.
No, it's
those.
Yeah.
Who
We thought the
broadly affected.
advertisement would go forever, but it turns out it doesn't.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I think I'm quite conscious of the impact on businesses and services.
Yeah.
Like yourself. So it just goes to show you that this COVID has an impact way beyond the headlines.
Yeah,
and
right.
If I can say that to a publication. And I do feel for you and the staff who work there.
Well,
and
no need to, but thank you though.
No,
we'll
no,
manage somehow.
I think
Just remember to like and subscribe and support us, of course, by buying something in the shop or and so on.
Yeah, I was up at the airport the other day, and it actually really struck me, because usually up at the airport,
Yeah.
you have the latest Reykjavík grapevine on the available at the airport for everyone to take.
Mm.
And I saw a few copies which were a number of weeks
Yeah.
old,
Yeah.
which really actually brought it home to me, the impact
Yeah.
that this has had.
I mean, it's I think we're all in it if you're not in the government business. So I think it's interesting, but I think we'll manage. I think everybody will like find just new paths on doing things. It's time to be creative, and it's good in a way. So.
And in a way, crises sort of promote creativity.
Yeah, right.
I mean, we're all doing fantastic things online now.
Yeah.
If we're getting a little bit tired of not that sort of human touch.
Yeah.
But also I think it can bring out the best in people.
Yeah, that's true.
And you know,
And that's also what the pandemic did.
yes.
I always, when you would watch the horror movies and then when the pandemic comes, everybody goes like on a rampage. But in the real world, we brought it closer, and everybody was just really nice about it.
I think we saw a little bit of that over toilet rolls.
Well, it's not a rampage, but
once people calmed down, it was you started to hear the stories of people actually supporting other people. In the UK, we were looking for something like a number of thousand of volunteers, and we were completely overwhelmed by the number who wanted to help.
Yeah.
And then you had little support groups set up, you know, if you needed someone to get your shopping, or if you needed someone to get you. There's a great story about a voluntary taxi driver.
Yeah.
And there was a lady who was going to give birth, and her husband couldn't help her.
Yeah.
But this volunteer taxi driver rushed to help her, just by a local support group. Hi, can you help me? Can anyone help me?
Whoa.
And you know, I don't know if they named the baby after him, but
You never know.
it's just one small example of actually there can be a lot of negativity in the world, but this has also brought out some of the best in us.
I agree. Nevin, thanks for the interview and your time. Like I said before, just remember to like and subscribe, and go to grapevine.is for our news and so on.
Please do. And this is the real star.
Yeah.
You are the star.
Where was she? Is she just going into
Where's
the
your
ocean? Yeah, she always loses the ball.
Oh,
We have to buy like box of it.
beautiful. You are perfect. I'm going to have to steal you. Yes.